Hi, it's Zenith for the Crazy Geek Crafter, and here's a project I made. It's a shadow box made out of an exploding box from Fawn. The idea came when I started thinking about putting the costumes from the dogs onto the fairies from these two sets, Fairy Friends and Happy Howlowdays. That was the word. Now I'm positioning the hat on the fairy, and first I'm gonna stamp the hat, of course. Should be coming in at any minute. The stamping is done in my favorite things, hybrid ink, so that I can color it with watercolors or alcohol markers if I want. Now the hat's in place. I'm putting on the mask, and then we need the fairy in place. And the paper is Bristol because I already know I'm gonna use my SIGs. Let's see if I can. Oh, there she was. There she was. Yes. Yeah. Let's see. There we go. I'm not going to show you all the elements are stamped since a lot of them are just standard stamping. But I wanted to show you that you can totally fit the costumes, or some of the costumes, on the fairies. Now here's the other fairy I want to modify. Down there we're going to make a princess fairy with the crown from the set. Now the third fairy doesn't have a costume. I'm just gonna draw fangs on her and give her blood on her shirt to make her a vampire. And I remember to zoom. Yay! Here we go. She's gonna be so cute, I promise. I promise. There we go. And remember to peel off the mask. There we go. For the background, I'm gonna need some trees, and I purposely do them on waterproof paper, so to speak, and with distress inks. And you're gonna see this later. I'm gonna make them a bit less bright. So, speeding through using the MISTI. It's a wonderful tool, I tell you. I would never have gone into stamping if it didn't exist. I'm too much of a perfectionist. And I hate doing things over also. So I think I'm gonna make one more. No, that was the last one. That, and then the thin one. A few of those. So I'm using, was it 2 or 3 different colors of distress inks, just for some variety. I think it's 2. And since distress inks are not actually made for stamping, I do them twice every time. But great for the effect I'm going for, you'll see later. Switching the color. I think this is Ground Espresso, and the other one is definitely Vintage Photo. I did wonder if I should do one in antique linen, but I think I decided it would be too light for a Halloween themed card. Here we go. And that was Into the Joy to the Woods. That's what. Oh yeah, and it's gonna take a while to dry, so let's put it aside. Ooh, and keep hydrated. Now I'm gonna color in the elements, and you see there's a few more than I originally showed you stamping out. Let's see, I'm picking out some colors for the windows. And it's always good to try them next to each other. That and the fact that all of the reds have faded away from the original color. They apparently are very, very sensitive to sunlight. Now I put the darkest color on the inside and then work my way out to the lightest to make the windows glow. There we go. And of course, the trees brown. And not some flimsy light brown, but a good, nice dark brown to go with the Halloween theme. Now I shade the edges of each row and then drag out the color to make a gradient. And of course, underneath the roof, there'll also be a shadow. And underneath the window. Now the house is from the Frosty Fairy Friends, by the way. It's not the Fairy Friends house. That one is a mushroom of some kind, or maybe it's supposed to look like a flower. I'm not exactly sure right now. I don't have it with me. But anywho, I thought the tree stump worked far better for the Halloween project. Yeah, and I had a hair. That's the trouble with having a dog. The hair is everywhere. I work in sections on purpose so that the color doesn't dry up. That makes it far harder to move. That's why I also prefer to work on the Bristol paper, which has some kind of coating and makes it hard for the color to seep in. Also means you have to be careful working with some colors, like reds and browns, because if you put your finger in the wet paint, it will stick and you will have it all over your picture. Now I'm going for a blue roof. I think the original box I made a red one, so not to copy everything, I colored this one blue. And I'm gonna end up cutting off the chimney because it was giving me trouble when I was cutting it out, so this one won't have one. I don't know. Maybe they use electricity. Maybe they don't need a chimney. It does look like a cozy little house, must say. It's funny there's only windows still under one window, but that's just the way it is, I guess. Oh yes, and I make notes on the colors so that I can put them in the description for you and on the screen. And I'm darkening the door with an extra layer of the color just to make it look like it's under the little roof. Coloring in the step and the in future not to be chimney. Oh, and then we go to the princess. Of course she needs sparkle. Everybody needs sparkle. Now this is just about the only time I use water with my 6 is when I would use Wink of Stell. If I have to color something white, that means, you know, making a gray shadowy area, then I use water, but otherwise I just keep to using the 6. And the hair. Now, doing hair strokes with the 6 is a hit and miss game. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But she does look pretty. Ah, some more hair strands there. And blending them out a bit. Yes. And now I have to be careful not to put my finger in that. And a bit of flesh. I only picked one color for her skin, since it's so tiny and it's gonna be in a shadow box. I figured I'd just jump the fence. And I chose to give her greenish wings. And of course with a lot of shimmer. Everybody needs to sparkle. And my witch. Now in the other box I actually managed to make the witch a boy, and I gave him glasses and a Harry Potter scar. I didn't do it with this one though. The method for the lanterns is the same I used for the windows. Darken the bottom, blending out with the lighter colors. I think it looks quite nice. And Jack also gets the dark in the bottom and then a bit lighter on the top. And the back side is of course the darker color, since it would be darker inside the basket. And the basket with the lantern head is from Holiday Friends, I think it's called. No, Holiday Animal? Holiday Animal, I think. It's the one with the raccoon. It's a smaller set that goes with a bigger one for Lawn Fawn. I love that they do that. Make additions to older sets. Just like with the fairies and the Frosty fairies. Now some purple for my witch. That was the trouble with the Harry Potter one. It was black with black with black because Harry Potter has black hair. And he wears black clothes. And his hat is black. It was a bit boring. Except for the details with the glasses and the lightning on his forehead. And some light hair for this one. Hopefully she'll return to the frame. I made them all light or fair, if you want to call it that, Caucasians, since the shadow box might get a bit dark and it would be hard to see facial features if I tried to color any of these darker. And they're really tiny also. So here's where I make the blood stains on this fairy. First trying out the liquid pearls, making a tiny drop and dragging it out with the needle to make it a point, like it's falling on her dress. It's really, really hard to see, even when I'm zoomed in. And I struggle. Should I put more? Should I not? Now here's the trick. I take a pencil, water pencil, get it flowing, and then I drag out the color to give the bark a darker feel. Right now it's dark white. And now it's gonna be brownish. If you go outside and look at beech trees, which I believe this is supposed to look like, they look like this, kind of. The older they get, the darker they get, of course. And it depends on the specific branch of the, what do you call that? Trees. You know, birch trees have so many. Beech? Now I confuse myself. Well, nevertheless, now they're darker and I think they look better this way. Especially when I do snowy things. Then too much white ruins the picture, I think. So I figured out this was a way to do it, instead of having to color it in. So, a little bit of glossy accents on the windows. And the lanterns, I think. No? Maybe? Yeah. I just forgot. Promise you, they're gonna be cute. I unfortunately forgot to do it on the first one. What are we doing now? We cut out everything? Yay! Oh, I really didn't want to cut out the handle for these jack-o'-lantern things. So I'm gonna put a tiny bit of embroidery floss on it, and it's really fiddly. I think I zoom in for you to see this. Maybe. But I put a piece of glue on the back. Put on the... Oh, there we go. There we go. Put on the string or floss. And try to position it. It's a bit lively. And cut off the excess. And I made 3 extras that I didn't color to glue on the back. I could have made it shorter, the handle, but didn't happen. Now one more. Putting on the glue. And the embroidery floss. Don't worry, I promise the lighting will be better in my new videos. I have improved my setup since I recorded this. Now I think I'm gonna make one of these boxes for Christmas too. Just don't know what I'm gonna put in them. If I should do the Frosty first, that could be cute. Could be cute. See, and the floss is terribly annoying. But I prevailed. And here comes the back piece. There we go. That string is not going anywhere. And the last one. Just if you thought you missed what actually happened. Because this is really fiddly. That's kind of the fun, isn't it? Doing these projects. And people look at it and say, you can't have done that by hand. And you say, yeah, of course I did. Of course I did. It took time, but I did it and it looks amazing. Right? Yeah. Grabbing whatever tool I have nearby. That one I usually use with my embossing powders, but it had kind of a pointy end. And I couldn't find a toothpick. I normally have toothpicks at my craft table. I learned that from baking. They're wonderful toys. And there we go. Then I can glue on the little, what to call them? Balls? Bags? I don't know what you call them. Trick-or-treating is kind of new in my country. We had more this year than last year, that's for sure. Think double. Maybe double, yeah. What we had last year. Now let's see. Here comes the box. I already die cut the box and the inside tabs. And now I'm doing the hole on the side. Ta-da! Here we go. Away with it. Giving me more space for working. Now I'm making some hills to go on the tabs to make the landscape. I cut these down to size to fit with the tabs from the original box. And they should magically appear. Here we go. Now I cut out a lot, since this video is so very long. But here we go. I'm gonna bend the tabs, give them a good press, and then I'm gonna glue on the hills. There we go. Bit of score tape. An extra bit of score tape. And here we go. Putting on the hill. Lining it up on the table so it matches the bottom. And I'm gonna cut off the excess. And the last, I'm sorry about the sniffling. I still have this cold. It can last for weeks. I'm really bad at getting rid of them. So now I have my tabs. And here's the problem with this box. It's not all there. So what I do, after tapping my fingers and thinking, because in the original box I made hinges in cardstock and it doesn't fall flat the way I want it to. So here is some Scotch tape, and then I take my embossing body and powder out this outside so that it doesn't stick to anything. The tiny bit of glue sticking out there doesn't stick on anything. There we go. Pressing it in place, dusting the outside. Now I'm gonna need to do this all the way around, of course. Troublesome as it is. So, lining them up, gluing on the tab, then the Scotch tape, pressing it in, good and firmly, and a bit of embossing powder, or talcum as this is, and then I make a background. Let's see. There we go. Because I need all three sides, visible sides, to be the night sky. That's why I'm making one hole and one of the small sides, cutting off the excess, cutting them apart, and then I'm gonna trim out a tiny hair so that it can actually fold. Now, I heat embossed stars onto this one. The other one, I used a stencil to put on the stars. I have a stencil from Memory Box, I think it is, with stars on it, and I actually think that worked better. But I wanted to try this out. And I think they got lost on the dark blue cardstock, unfortunately, a bit. This and silver embossing powder. There we go. Heating it up. You can't see my heat tool. It's out of the frame. I have it standing on the side of my table so that I don't have to hold it. I can concentrate on what I'm doing. And some more stars. Wow, this actually takes a long time. Who figures? Maybe this is why I really rarely emboss anything, because I think it takes a long time. It actually does. But it looks so nice. It looks so very nice. And Christmas is coming up, so we'd better get out that embossing. Okay, so the stars are done. Putting back the stamps. And let's see. Oh, my glue. This is very nice glue. It's called quickglue from a firm called Panduro Hobby. It's Scandinavian. Oh, and that's the hair I'm talking about. Taking out just the hair so I can actually fold the damn thing shut. And the other side. I know Panduro has expanded to Germany and the Netherlands, but I don't know if it's anywhere beyond that, and Scandinavia, of course. Here comes the tabs. I always glue them in before I close the box. It's just too much work to try and put them in when you put the box together. Mostly also the elements are easier to put on before you close it. But you have to remember to check everything if any of your images cover each other up or anything. There we go. A bit too close. Try again. And that be me having the cold when I recorded this, and the cold I still have, by the way. I hope you won't catch it for this. If you're like me, it's enough to watch someone else being sick on TV to get sick yourself. Yeah, and now I realize this one is too high. So I cut off a piece. Doesn't matter. Still be nice and secure. See, I have this gnome on my tongue, and it has sometimes the tendency to mess up my speaking. So now back to the fairies. Hopefully the gnome stays away. Let's see, I line up everything to see where it's gonna go. Put on the little basket. Decide to do it with a glue drop instead. Glue. Yeah. Call it glue drop. Don't you? Dots. It's with a C, with a Z, that's right. It's a glue dot. All my little trick and treating fairies. Trick or treating fairies. I'm rambling. This video is really long. Here we go. A little bit of, I believe that's multimedia matte just to secure it. The embroidery floss to the fairy so it doesn't flop out. Look like it's floating around next to the fairy. Okay, where are we going now? The mushrooms. Or, oh, the trees in the background. Bit of glue on that one. Yeah. And an acrylic block on top just to hold it in place. And another one. Now try and mix and match the design and the colors of these trees. Checking to see where I want my lanterns. If it was high enough off to not be covered by the house. Excuse my sniffles. And what am I deciding? I'm deciding on mushrooms. I can't remember which fairy set these are from, but I think it's the first one, the Fairy Friends. And I stamped it out in Lawn Fawn red and brown ink, and then I hand drew the line on the bottom to make the stem fit with the other images. Oh yes, some acetate. And I found out the acetate I have on stock, it's a bit too flimsy, so I put two pieces together and then glue them on the fairy. There she goes. Decisions. Where to put the rest? Oh, more acetate, of course. More acetate. Should do it, I think. If you've stuck around this long, you must really be bored or something. Because right now I am. Maybe it's because I've seen this video like 50 times while I edited it. Trying to get it below half an hour, which it never did. But at least the first version I made, it was more than 45 minutes. That's a lot. Even for a crafting video. And now I think I'm ready to assemble the box. I think. Yes, there we go. Fiddling around. Excuse me. Fiddling around with the Scotch tape there in the corner, trying to make the sides line up. Giving it a bit of glue also. because I didn't use enough Scotch tape down there. And then the outside. We'll need some trees, of course. And do I hang a lantern outside? I think so. I think I hang a lantern outside. And I didn't make a big jack-o'-lantern pumpkin thingy to decorate the bottom here. So I just used my mushrooms. And the fairy goes on the inside. Last element on the inside, I believe. And there's the mushrooms. There's something cute and fall-like about mushrooms. I like them. Preferably, I want my mushrooms non-toxic, roasted on the pan with whipped cream. Before it's whipped, that is. And here we are, a few stills of the 2 boxes, the original one. Now, everything I've used for this project, you can find in the description below. If you like this, subscribe please. And I will try to put out videos regularly in the future. I hope you enjoyed, and have a nice day.